This program is brought to you by Emory University.
My name is Masoud Noori. I'm originally from Iran, and as a visiting scholar, I'm now here at great University of Emory. Well, I can introduce myself as a religious studies student originally, and after that, a law student. Around 25 years, I had Islamic studies in Qom. As you know, Qom is the first or second city in Shia Islam, of course, for education and researching about Islam. And I was there during this time, had some courses in jurisprudence, Islamic Sharia law, and Islamic philosophy, mysticism, Islamic morality, and something like this, interpretation of Quran, of course. And after that, I was go to a university first in the branch of Western philosophy and second in law. And I was continue these studies until get my PhD degree in private law. And for about 10 years work for Mofid University as a faculty member in Department of Law as well as Center for Human Rights Studies. Well, it's very, very great opportunity for me because it's give me a capacity to have good comparative studies between Sharia law and state law in Muslim majority countries. As you know, I can say that in all Muslim majority countries, even those countries that governed by secular government, Islamic Sharia has a great role in, of course, some countries in any aspect of any issue of law, like Iran and Saudi Arabia, and maybe I can say Persian Gulf states, and even in some other countries, Muslim majority countries that have a secular government like Turkey or Uzbekistan or countries like this, Sharia law as well as a great rule in family law, for example. So when you have studies in those area, you can have a very good comparative studies and good analyze about the roots of rule of a state law and something like this. And I'm very, very glad that I have two studies. Okay, when I left Iran in 2010, I went to Ireland in Irish Center for Human Rights as a visiting scholar, as well as Trinity College in Dublin. I do some of unfinished my work and publish them after that, and have a co-teaching there. That is my first experience like this, is very useful for me. And in Dublin, in a conference, I saw Professor Feynman as a great professor, and we have some talk and discussion, and after that he invited me here in Emory University, and fortunately I had and have a chance to work with Professor Naim. I know him when I was in Iran. I was read for his works, especially in some comparative studies that he had between Islamic Sharia and new issues, modern issues like human rights or state law. And it's very good for me that now I can work with him. I had co-teaching with him at fall and spring semester. One of them is in human rights seminar, and the second is in his class, Islamic law class. It's a very good chance for me to have a comparative studies between Shiism and Sunni Islam. And now I'm very glad that in these years I have a chance to reorganize my ideas, my things. It's a very good time for me. And here now, as a third semester that I'm here at Emory, I do some work in some of my articles, and I'm trying to publish when I'm here. I think Emory is one of best university that I know on the world. Is great. It has great staff, academic staff, and very, very rich library. And I'm trying to use more and more from this facility here. And as I told you, it's a great time for me to work directly with some professors like Professor Marta Feynman and Professor An-Naim. And I use from this time to reorganize my information, my knowledge in Islamic law, and I'm very glad that can do something here. Now I'm working as part of my general idea about the good understanding between Sharia law and state law in Muslim majority countries. I finished an article and I was trying to use new constitution in Egypt as a case study, because as you maybe know that even before revolution in Egypt, Article 2 of this constitution says that Sharia is a source for legislation in Egypt. After revolution, there is a change that maybe you can see is very simple, but I think it's very important. They changed this Article 2 and now says that Sharia is primary sources in legislation in Egypt. And because the term of Sharia is sometimes questionable terms, they try to explain it in Article 219. And I believe that, especially with my experience about what happened in Iran, about the relation between Sharia and state law, I believe that even now, which we have this article in Egyptian constitution, the problem is still doesn't solve, because still Sharia term is unclear. In that article, I try to say that in anyways, finally some people has tried, have made decision about this legislation which passed in the parliament is against Sharia or it's in harmony with Sharia. So the idea of this council or this person is very, very important. So I try to say that they should pay attention to justice as a very, very basic, very important and basic principles in their ijtihad, in their interpretation of Islam. And in this article, I try to say that we as Muslims should pay attention at Islam as a system. For example, when we say in theology that God is just, in jurisprudence, we cannot say that God has some order which is unjust. And when we believe that and said that, for example, the Prophet Muhammad was selected by God for improve morality, we cannot have an order in jurisprudence which is against morality. So if we pay attention to Islam as a system and use and pay attention to justice as a principle in jurisprudence, we have a better understanding in Sharia. And I try to explain this important principle in reinterpretation of Islam. And as I told you, the Egyptian constitution as a case study. And second work that I'm trying to finish is about the position of women as a judge in Islam, because there is a traditional interpretation which says that women cannot serve in the society as a judge. Now, in Iran, in Saudi Arabia, and in United Arab Emirates, they cannot serve, the women cannot serve as judge. But I do believe that this idea has some problem, and one of them, of course not all problem, is that this is, even we believe that the women, to this limitation for women, I do believe that this is for judgment based on Sharia law. But what we have in all Muslim majority countries, we don't have judgment based on Sharia. We have judgment based on state law. And this is different in goals, in structure, and in qualification, and in so many other aspects. So even we believe that according Sharia, women cannot serve as judge, this is for that kind of judgment, not for the kind of judgment based on a state law that we have. I'm trying to finish this article, and I hope that I can present it in a conference in California in March. And third thing that I'm trying to finish it in this semester during my stay in Emory University is research about the Islamic Sharia and constitutional law in Muslim majority countries after 2000. Because we have 4 countries, Afghanistan, Iraq, Tunis, and Egypt, that have a new constitution, and in all of them, Sharia is a base, is a source for legislation. But in 4 countries, they have different perspective, they have different approach, and I'm trying to have a comparative study about it, about these 4 constitutions in Muslim country, and I hope that I can finish it in coming months during my stay in Great Emory. Yes, of course. I can say that I'm trying to continue my work with Emory, even when I finished my staying here, because I believe that Emory is a great capacity for work. So many of faculty member of law that I know him, or for example, the Center for Religious and Law, I think is a very, very good opportunity for work because you know that in our world, if we don't have a good relation between religious institution, religious leader, and secular institution and leader, I believe that we cannot achieve peace and security. So centers like Emory Center for Religion and Religion Study and Law, I think it's very, very important. And I'm trying to can keep my connection with them because their goals and their approaches and their faculties, all of them great for me, and I wish that I can continue connection and work with them.